Okay, so joining me now, CNN political commentators Anna Navarro and Scott Jennings. Good evening. There's a lot to discuss here. So, Anna, let's start with you. Republicans may very well win the House back in the midterms. That will make McCarthy Speaker. But is there any comparison between what he is threatening and what happened to Gosar and Green?
Well, you just took for granted that it will make McCarthy Speaker should Republicans win back the House. And I think part of what you're seeing is McCarthy worried about his right flank, worried about the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, the Louis Gohmerts, the Paul Gosars, the Matt Gaetz, who have threatened him, who have put him under pressure. And I think he's trying to win some points with them, garner their support should there be a vote. Remember, it's not automatic. It will go up to a vote, and there is nothing saying that he won't get a challenge from the right. I think by many, he's seen as an establishment Republican who's just pretending to be a Trumpster. And I think McCarthy's right. It is a new level. It is a new standard because we've also hit a new low in Congress. And I think it's so important, Don, to tamp down the vitriol, to tamp down what's happening in Congress amongst colleagues. We've heard the horrible, threatening, violent voicemails left in some Congress people's messages. We've seen people like Congresswoman Debbie Dingell of Detroit get her office ransacked and broken into. This needs to stop on both sides.
Mm-hmm. Scott, listen, Gosar and Green were removed over pushing content and theories of violence against Democrats. Is that not fair reasons?
I'm not going to defend their conduct. I think they did reprehensible things. But you have to understand, to the average Republican, the fringe elements in the Democratic Party are Schiff, Swalwell, Omar, other people in the squad. So the way the average Democrat sees the members you just mentioned, the average Republican sees the analog on the left. And I'll just have to say, you're not going to find too many Republicans who aren't going to look at this and say what's good for the goose is good for the gander here. Democrats went down this road. They knew what it was going to lead to. And now they're going to have to deal with the consequences. And I would also just add, this is applicable to many things in Washington right now. If Democrats alter the filibuster in the Senate, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I mean, opening these doors leads to unintended consequences, and I don't know that, I think McCarthy is stating what is going to happen. I don't think these are conceptual ideas. I think you could take it to the bank.
So Scott, Congresswoman Omar apologized after she faced backlash for tweets condemned by both sides of the aisle as anti-Semitic. We haven't seen any apologizing from Gosar, and Green has apologized for some of her comments and conspiracies, but not all. There is a difference, no?
Like I said, I'm not going to defend any of the conduct. And you and I have had conversations about Gosar and Green on this very show, but I've never heard Eric Swalwell explain or apologize about his being compromised by a Chinese spy. I've never heard anything coming out of Adam Schiff apologizing for going on a lot of television networks and saying a lot of things that turned out not to be true for a number of years about a very serious matter involving the president and Russia and other issues. And so there are serious issues to discuss with these Democrats that McCarthy has named. And I think until Democrats are willing to deal with the people in their own ranks, just the way we try to hold Republicans to account for the ones in ours, you're going to see McCarthy and the Republican majority take action because it's an authority now that the majority has claimed under Nancy Pelosi. So if she's allowed to have that power, McCarthy's reasoning is, why can't I?
Do you think it's comparable, Anna, to what he's saying about Eric Swalwell and others, Ilhan Omar and Gosar and Green?
Okay, I think a majority leader needs to deal with what happens while he or she is the Speaker of the House. And I agree with Scott. What's good for the goose should be good for the gander. And so if there is a Democrat who posts animes killing colleagues and harming the President of the United States, they should definitely be stripped of their committees. And if there is any Democrat who tweets out threats against colleagues, who tweets out comparisons of the yellow star of the Holocaust with the vaccine cards and spreads misinformation and conspiracy theories, yes, absolutely they should be stripped from committees. But so yes, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. But there is a new low what we have seen from some of these newer Republican members. And look, they're even getting criticism from some of their Republican colleagues. As Scott knows, Congressman Dan Crenshaw of Texas has been very critical of Marjorie Taylor Greene for what he calls performative behavior and outrageous behavior that shouldn't be accepted. And I think it speaks badly of the Republican Party that these folks have become stars, not because they have legislative accomplishments, not because they have intellectual curiosity, but because they are outrageous and offensive and threatening and violent and despicable and pathetic and lame excuse Congress people.
So, and look, in the interest of truth here, Eric Swalwell has denied sharing anything with the spy and has cooperated with officials through an investigation. McCarthy has targeted Democrats that the Fox propaganda channel loves to attack, and those Democrats are also targets of the former president. Is this all about, do you think this is Scott staying in Trump's good graces at all, some of this?
Well, I'm sure Donald Trump loves it, but I'll just tell you, as someone who is in touch with a lot of everyday grassroots Republicans, this is exactly what they want to see out of a new House majority. They want to see them hold Democrats to account that they think have gotten away with a lot of stuff. They want to see a new Republican majority hold Joe Biden to account. This is the kind of aggressive politics that the Republican grassroots is going to want to see. So to the extent that Kevin McCarthy is practicing politics here, and I fully acknowledge that he is, it serves two purposes. Yes, it keeps Donald Trump happy, but there's a lot of grassroots candidates, conservative donors, activists around the country who are like, right on, brother. This is exactly what we want to see you doing.
Hey, Anna, quickly, and not short shrift, how are you doing?
From which of all the things that I'm going through are you asking about? I'm on my day of COVID.
Health-wise, yeah, COVID-wise.
I'm good. I got mild symptoms, and look, my recommendation to anybody is, because testing is so difficult and getting those at-home kits are difficult, is if you start feeling bad, if you start feeling a tickle in your throat, if you start feeling any of the symptoms, be conscientious. Be good to your fellow human and stay home and try to isolate, and let's try to get this thing to stop.
We'll get better soon. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. We'll be right back.